Been time of real turmoil in the Middle East. But as I prepare to leave office, our friends are strong, our enemies are weak, and there's a genuine opportunities for a new future.
Israel and Hamas reaching a ceasefire and hostage release agreement, stopping more than a year of fighting.
Thanks for joining us here at 6. Lots to get to tonight. I'm Tony Lopez.
And I'm Marley Ginter. That ceasefire deal will happen in 3 phases. The first is expected to start this Sunday, which will include the release of hostages and exchange of prisoners.
The second phase of the deal would involve the release of all remaining male Israeli hostages and the withdrawal of IDF forces from Gaza.
And then the third would involve the exchange of bodies of hostages and prisoners and the beginning of reconstructing Gaza. In tonight's Politics at Large, Steve has reaction from both sides in Sacramento.
Well, guys, we have seen these clashes on UC and CSU campuses. We've seen protests inside Sacramento City Hall chambers over this Israeli-Hamas conflict. Now the question is, will the ceasefire mend the emotions in our communities?
This is our prayer book that we use.
Rabbi Ben Herman at Mosaic Law Congregation in Sacramento shows the pictures of 2 Israeli hostages taken captive October 7th. His synagogue is sponsoring. Israeli officer Omer Wenkert and Israeli citizen Keith Siegel.
He was taken. He was forced for his car to be driven to Gaza.
Herman is concerned the announced ceasefire won't last.
Based on the history, unfortunately, I do not think that will happen. But it is a good moment of respite, of pause, and of reuniting some of these hostages with their families.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Bassem El-Kara is the executive director of the Council on American Islamic Relations in Sacramento and says his 7-year-old cousin is among the 113 family members of his killed in Gaza since the bombing started.
Everyone's just on edge until that moment when it officially goes into effect. And that's when we can finally start figuring out who made it, who's alive, who didn't make it.
The Israeli-Hamas conflict has led to protests inside Sacramento City Hall and on campuses across the state, even leading UCs and CSUs to change their enforcement policies. The statewide systems released new rules for protests ahead of this school year. There can be no encampments of any kind, no temporary or permanent structures, and no wearing masks to conceal identities with the intent of intimidating. Now, even as a Middle East ceasefire is announced, the rifts remain.
You know, it's changed us. It's changed us. It's changed our community, and I believe it's changed our country.
I wish it would help heal it. I'm really not sure it will.
This ceasefire is bringing these Sacramento civic leaders no sense of peace.
Mm-hmm. So even amongst the celebration, some skepticism as well. The details of the ceasefire are still coming out, but again, it is expected to go into place on Sunday.